Hi folks, HR Funk here, with a video that comes about largely because it's a miserable day here in northern Ohio. It's raining and dark outside and really unfit for anything. And there's a lot of things in the news that are negative, telling me why me and people like me are bad people, and it's just not a very good day. So I was hoping maybe I could brighten the day a little bit with a lighthearted video on the topic of shower guns. Now, just so we have no misunderstandings from the get-go, I'm talking about actual firearms. I'm not talking about any anatomical features that some of you might want to discuss with regard to what you consider a shower gun. Anyway, this video is a result of a conversation that was taking place in an online forum a few days ago, and I found it all rather entertaining. And it started off with a discussion about whether or not anyone carries a firearm on their person in their home. And during that online conversation, I allowed as to how the only times that I don't have a firearm on my person are when I'm sleeping, at which time there are two firearms within easy reach, and when I'm in a shower, but I have a firearm in the shower with me. And this sort of devolved into a rather comical discussion about shower guns and people that have guns when they're in the bathtub and whatever else. And at the end of my post, I put, I know I'm weird. But there were a couple of other people that mentioned that they have shower guns and they have bath guns and things like that. So again, I found the whole thing to be rather entertaining, so I thought I would throw it out in the form of a video to all of you, and we could hash this out. So during the course of this video, I'm going to talk about my shower gun, why I have a shower gun, where my shower gun is, and at the end of this video, all of you can decide if you think the idea of a shower gun is a good one, or if you think I am stark, raving, barking mad. In any case, here we go. Okay, so let's start with why do I have a shower gun? And the answer to that is pretty simple. I just don't like the idea of ever being defenseless. And the idea of emerging from my shower and finding someone inside my home that doesn't live there, or being in the shower and hearing some sort of a noise that makes me think somebody is attempting to get into my home, it just bothers me. So I've thought about this different times over the years, and I've had firearms that are close by with the idea that I could get out of the shower and get to them quickly or whatever. And I just never liked the idea too much because it was going to take too much time to be able to arm myself in the event there was an intruder in my home when I was in the shower or had just gotten out of the shower. So what I eventually decided to do was put a firearm in the shower with me. Now, the idea of me emerging from the shower, stark naked, dripping wet, carrying a handgun that looks like this should be enough to convince any intruder in my home that they have somewhere much better to be than in my home. But in the event that it doesn't, I do have a handgun capable of defending myself and my home with me. And that handgun is my Steyr M9A2 MF, and I'll give you a close-up of this pistol, and I'll talk a little bit about why this was my selection for this particular use. And there you go. This is an up-close look at my shower gun. Again, this is my Steyr M9A2 MF. And I should point out that when I'm in the shower, the pistol is not actually in the water where it's being sprayed on all the time. It's actually on a shelf that is relatively high up in my shower. So the only water that ends up on the pistol itself is water that might be splashed there, which is just a few drops. And mostly it's condensation from the steam. So when I'm done with my shower, there is a frosting of condensation all over the handgun, but it's not immersed or submerged or anything like that. The reason I chose the Steyr for this particular application, actually there are several reasons. First off, the entire lower half is plastic, so it's obviously going to be impervious from rust or corrosion or anything like that. Also, as best I can tell, the coating that Steyr uses on the frame, on the slide and barrel seems to be essentially rust-proof. This handgun, and let me bring it up here so you can see it better, has been in the shower with me many times. In fact, it was just there a couple of hours ago. And when I get out of the shower, I basically just lay it down and let it air dry. and there is no sign of rusting whatsoever on this handgun. And if you go to Steyer's website, you'll note that they have a video there that shows a lot of torture testing of this particular handgun, and they do all sorts of radical things with it. They throw it out of helicopters, they bury it in sand, etc., etc., etc. So I figure a little bit of condensation and a few water drops in my shower shouldn't hurt it too badly. And I've been doing, over the years, something of an extended endurance test with this handgun. I went a long time without cleaning it, just to see if it would continue running whenever I'm doing anything outside that requires me to be working in a dusty, dirty environment or whatever. This is the handgun that I'm carrying, mainly because I'm just trying to test it out over the long term and see how it's going to do. And to date, it has done very, very well. In fact, I'll roll in some footage from just a week or so ago when I was out on the range with this handgun, and you can see that it is still functioning just fine after showers and dirt and dust and what have you. Another thing I like about the Steyr pistol for this application is the grip texture that you can see here. If I would have to grab this handgun off of its shelf and use it while my hands were wet or the pistol itself was wet, I'm not worried about it slipping out of my hands or slipping under recoil or anything else if I would have to fire it. And there are other handguns that don't have quite this level of texturing. This wouldn't be a bad application for a Glock, but absent skateboard tape or anything else, it doesn't have the grip quality that the Steyr pistol has, so that's another thing I like about it. But as always, with a Glock, if you would happen to have to use it for defensive purposes and it was confiscated as evidence, at least you're not out all that much. Lastly, I like the fact that there is no optic on this handgun, so I don't have to worry about the optic lens being fogged up or anything else. If I would have to use it under these circumstances, I would be able to grab the pistol and use it. And of course, I've got the trapezoid style sights on this handgun, but in my home at across the room distances, I don't think those are going to be any hindrance whatsoever, assuming I even use the sights in that type of a situation. And the last thing I like about the Steyr M9A2MF is the 17-round magazine. So in the event that that image I talked about a little while ago with me emerging from the shower is not enough to dissuade a home intruder, at least I have enough ammunition on board that I can fight my way to one of my more formidable long guns to defend myself, my home, and my family. So there you go, folks. Those are my thoughts on the topic of a shower gun. I'd like to hear yours. If you have any questions or comments about this video, as always, make sure you forward those to me. Remember, if you purchase anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it's good for 5% off your purchase from Optics Planet. Also, remember the discount code from Hot Munitions. If you go to Hot Munitions, you can find my discount code there, which is HRFUNK10, and that'll save you 10% off any purchase from Hot Munitions. Last but not least is the target sponsor of the channel, Targets Online. Go to Targets Online, check out their inventory, and see if they have anything that's going to meet your target needs. See you next time, folks. Hopefully not in the shower. And until that time, good shooting. Bye-bye.